We are here today to discuss the outside employment policies that govern executives at California's public universities. Let me start by saying that I believe that the public higher education is vital to California's economic success. I support our UC and CSU systems and believe that our leaders must have adequate funding and the flexibility in order to do their important work. But I also expect that UC and CSU executives will use their positions to advance the needs of students and the interest of the public. When high-level executives accept paid positions with questionable private for-profit corporations, it erodes the public's trust and undermines our ability to push for additional funding. We have seen reports showing that some university leaders have received significant incomes from questionable sources. Our goal today is to understand from researchers, university leaders, and stakeholders whether existing conflict of interest and outside employment policies are sufficient.
I suppose it doesn't surprise me that there's been a little difficulty in identifying the benefit to the university, at least in your testimony, from a president serving on an outside board. There's an interesting component of this, and that is when somebody becomes a member of a board of an organization, they have a duty to the shareholders to put the shareholders first, and not necessarily where they're coming from first. And so I didn't see that in your prior studies, that examination of the fact that in taking a role on a certainly a public board and really a private board, nonprofit or for-profit, you have a duty to the shareholders, to the entity. You can't behave in a way that doesn't put that entity first. The flip side isn't that you put the organization that you come from first. So I think it's worth noting there's a different concept of conflict there.
Welcome, Chancellor Katehi.
Thank you. Chair McCarthy, Chair Medina, and committee members, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about my experience and perspectives about university leaders serving on outside boards. Before I start, I wanted to again acknowledge my lapse in judgment and apologize for accepting a position on the DeVry University Board of Directors. I resigned before I had the opportunity to act as a board member, and I received no compensation. I also want to state unequivocally that this will not happen again. Addressing your concerns, I have already put into place additional reviews of future board invitations over and above existing campus and university policies so that this issue will not happen again. Since I became Chancellor, my primary commitment has always been to UC Davis and to the University of California. And I believe that my commitment is demonstrated by many tangible accomplishments achieved during my tenure at UC Davis.
Fallout from it. I guess I want to go back as far as what was the thought process going into it. And so I guess the big question is it's a troublesome body, the Diploma Mill University. And I think the question that I have, and I think the larger community has, is in your views, what was the benefit to the University of California and the University and UC Davis going to be from your participation on that body?
There is we have been asked as an institution, and many publics have been asked, to start reporting on how individual students after graduation are placed, on how they, what they learn through their years in their undergraduate degree, how to parameterize that, to measure it, and how to also report on how the students are placed. I've known that has been, it's a question, it's an important question. There are no standards on how to do that. And I was hoping that I could help in this regard. But that was, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, you're asking me a question, and I'm just trying to be truthful to you. And this is exactly the reasons.
Well, I asked 3 times how you thought it would benefit Davis.
That will benefit, of course. If I know how to measure, for example, we are asked on how to tell the public on how well our students learn and how well our students, because of their learning, are placed in they find jobs and then they are successful in their careers. If you ask me how to measure this today, I do not know.
I believe that Chancellor Katehi has had consequences in being put through what she's been put through in the public scrutiny and everything else. It's not to say that we don't have the right or the opportunity to judge or question, because I think that is our responsibility. I thank the chairs for holding this committee meeting today. But I think that transparency is everything. And to the co-chairperson's point, I think the UC system can do a better job. But I would like to thank Chancellor Katehi for being here today and responding to these issues.
Was not to advocate for online education. It was for the money. It was for the money. She did it for the money. Because if she didn't do it for the money, then if shareholders at Wiley & Son should be very upset that their corporate board has chosen people to advocate for lower profits.
Hello, and thank you for having so many students come and speak to you today. My name is Natalia Custodio, and I am a third-year design student at UC Davis, undergraduate, and I am also a member of the Chicano-Chicana community. I'm here to talk about not so much taking a side, but more of some of the good that has come out of Chancellor Katehi and at UC Davis. So one of the big topics that has been talked about is the transparency and that inclusion of students and faculty, staff, getting to be on a more personal level. Some of the methods of transparency that I've seen her actually be involved in is helping create this concept of Meals with Merak, which is a huge initiative that is supposed to allow any kind of student to have a breakfast meal with provosts, deans, professors, anyone that is currently selected for the time being, and there's at least one faculty staff member every single week that offers their time to do so. A second huge initiative that actually happened last quarter was called Envision Davis, and it was a giant online forum that allowed students to express their feelings with any type of situation going on at Davis. There was undergraduate education started off by creating a list of different kinds of questions that would be asked towards students to start a conversation about how they feel about their student experience, their professional experience outside of Davis. And I know that undergraduate education has taken that information and given it to the Chancellor and her administrators to try to figure out a way to get those type of questions and comments that students have had into the light and to have activism towards those working units. And lastly, as the person before me has spoken about, was the office hours that she holds every single week in the Memorial Union on campus. I myself, about 2 years ago, went to her saying that I had a couple concerns about student experience and the way that professors interact with others, and she has let me to have multiple meetings with other faculty and advisors, taking my idea, taking my what I'm looking for. Thank you.
In closing, I think it has been, for me, a very informative hearing. Will help me as we move forward, dealing with all the stakeholders and looking at the policy of serving on both for-profit and nonprofit boards. I thank you all. I thank you to the panels, and look forward to working with UC as we move forward.